And we are live. Exactly. So, welcome to episode 287 of An American Werewolf. I am Michael Martin, the American Werewolf. In the house tonight, we've got Bill Pink Floyd. He's sleeping one off from the Moon Tower party just a couple of nights ago. So I hope you had a good time and you didn't hit your head on every rung on the way down.
Yes.
That'll make for a really lumpy head.
Came here to chew bubble gum and drink beer, and I'm almost out of beer.
That's exactly right. And we've got John K. Alvarez. He's here for a visceral experience. Now, I thought you would be on your way to get some Aerosmith tickets.
Yeah.
That would have been a good option, too.
The line wasn't that long. I figured I could do the podcast and then step in.
I forgot how much fun this fucking movie is. I hadn't seen it in forever. It triggered a lot of really good memories for me. And, us all going back as far as we have. These were, we're not from 1976. We're from a little more than a decade or so later. But a lot of similarities in the way that the world was. And I'd like to get into it because we're talking about Richard Linklater's Dazed and Confused. So if you're ready to go, shall we get it going?
All right.
Boogie woogie. So
that's a cool new intro, Mike.
Yeah, it's a new intro, isn't it?
Thank you. The cockbags over at YouTube clipped my intro from last week, John. They clipped me for copyright, and I disputed it, and then I lost today. So I had to come back today and put something together. And the reason I went in that direction was because I want to say real quick, Tetsuya Nakadai passed away yesterday at the age of 92. And he is probably one of the greatest avant-garde actors of all time. We talked about him on this show when we covered Kurosawa's Ran, where he played the old warlord who was essentially Kurosawa's King Lear. But he also did some fantastic films like The Sword of Doom with him and Toshiro Mifune. And Mifune got pretty much all the smoke in Japanese cinema, but this man, I think, was easily his equal. He also did Masaki Kobayashi's Samurai Rebellion and Kobayashi's Harakiri, which may be one of the greatest films of all time. So if you ever get a chance to see any of those, please do. Rest in peace, and thank you very much for entertaining us all these years. We appreciate it. All right, let's get back to this month. We're talking Richard Linklater. John and I were here last week to talk about Last Flag Flying, which we enjoyed very much. We both gave it 5 stars. So, Bill, if you get a chance, watch it.
Okay.
But what we talked about was the serious anti-authoritarian streak that runs through a lot of Linklater's films. He's not a man who appreciates the narrative or people telling him how to, telling other people how to live, that sort of thing. It's done in a very somber way with Last Flag Flying. But here in Dazed and Confused, it's a lot more lighthearted. The point comes across just the same. Let's go with Bill Pink Floyd there at the Moon Tower the other night. What did you think of this film from 1993? We're talking about 32 years of Dazed and Confused now.
Yeah, I love this movie. I used to work overnights in New York, so I would come crawling home right before dawn, and that was one of the VHS tapes I would always grab and throw into the player, and put it on as I'd fall asleep. I must have seen this movie 100 times. I remember not loving it when I went to see it in the theater when it first came out. Wasn't huge on it at that point, but just subsequent watchings it got into me so deeply, and I started picking up on all the real subtext of the movie. I love this movie. I just bought the Criterion Collection. I watch it in full at least once a year. I watch that and Slackers at least once a year. I love Linklater, and I love this movie.
Yeah, he's one of those great directors out of the 90s that came along. He's still making films. I was just telling John last week, I went to go see, Blue Moon, which was his latest. It's maybe the best thing I've ever seen him do. It's the best thing I think I've seen Ethan Hawke do. He's certainly one of those guys that has his go-to people, and Ethan Hawke is one of them. He's got another one coming out soon too. Then Nouvelle, something like that. He's got another, like right on the heels of Blue Moon dropping. He's got another one coming out. I'm really pleased about it. I can't wait to go to the theaters to see it. John K. Alvarez, who's here for a visceral experience. What did you think of this movie? I'm going to assume that this was not a first-time viewing.
No, it wasn't, Michael. And much to the surprise of maybe both of you, I don't know if you both realize it, the recent birthday I had, I turned 61.
Okay.
So
Happy
50
belated
years
birthday.
ago was
Happy birthday.
well 50 years ago, next summer, I was 11.
Yeah.
So all these people I knew.
Mm-hmm.
My brother Joe graduated high school in '76. For those of you who might not know, I'm the ninth out of 10 kids. Joe's only 6 years older than me. I met all these people.
Yeah.
Every one of them. First time I saw it, I'll be honest, I was like, Bill, I didn't like it because it was more like a bad flashback with the paddles and what have you. I mean, I had one of my brother's friends chase me with a paddle because I looked older than 11 because of swimming all the time. I was in this shape, and it took my 3 brothers to get him off me before I got paddled. He's like, dude, he's not even out of grade school. But the more and more I watched this movie over the years, it started becoming like an old friend.
Yeah.
And there is a comfort in it. Started with the soundtrack, obviously, because it is a great soundtrack from a great period.
Yep.
But then the more and more I watched it, the more I just started finding different characters I related to. More characters I was actually glad to see because they reminded me of some of the good people that my brothers, knew.
Yeah.
And to see some of the jackasses get their comeuppance in the movie, I kind of laughed because, it's different. So it really was to me, it's like pizza.
Yeah.
Every now and then when you're sitting back and you're watching a movie, you just want to have a slice of pizza. If I can't get a slice of pizza, this is the movie I put on to get that feel good.
32 years. It's been a long time. This was a film that was made for $6 million, and it fucking bombed at the box office.
Yep.
Yeah.
But then it exploded on the home video market, which is where I saw it with friends. Guess what? Drinking beer and probably smoking a little weed back then. And just proceeded to watch this thing. And I'm like, this is the greatest. It's just great. It's not just a teen movie. It's a smart film. It's funny. It's got an ensemble cast. It's extremely well written. And I say that sort of half jokingly because a lot of things were just sort of improvised.
Mhm.
A lot of lines are just improvised.
Right.
Linklater, he got zero back-end profits from this, I guess, from the deal, from any of the home video. And it said $30 million in revenue, and he still calls it PTSD from the fight with the studios.
Mhm.
And I think there's a documentary called Melissa Mayer's All Right, All Right, All Right. It said Matthew McConaughey was a total wild card, and it said he wasn't even in the original script, but his character, Wooderson, that's called like Creepy Cool. Yeah, there you go.
There you go.
There you go. Was a bit part for a local Austin actor, and Linklater spotted him hanging out in a bar during the casting and put him on the spot when he just said, like out of nowhere, all right, all right, all right. Because guess what? He's from Texas too. And they say he ad-libbed most of his lines, including "That's what I love about these high school girls." He ad-libbed that entire thing, which and that freaked out. Apparently, that freaked out the studio really badly. That he was saying that, and because he's like 23, I think they say he's playing like a 23-year-old, and he's picking up that girl. He's picking up that girl.
Character. That's totally on brand for the Watterson character.
Exactly.
Wait, say that again?
That's totally on brand for the Watterson character. I don't know. The studio didn't know jack shit about what was going on in the film.
Well, it's not in the script. That's just it. It's not in the script, and I'm sure the studio saw the script, and that's not in there. And all of a sudden, he's talking about just loving some high school girls, and they're probably, what the fuck?
One of my favorite lines that he says, and it's one of the ones that everyone looks at me like I'm weird, is when he asked the freshman, "So what's the latest girl? What's the latest crop of freshman girls?"
Yeah.
And I started laughing when I first heard that. And I'm going, "This is so wrong," but I know this guy.
Yeah, everyone knows a guy like that. After I graduated high school and was working at a gas station, I was working with a guy exactly like that who just wanted to do nothing but hang out with high school kids.
The trick of it is that it's done in such a lighthearted way.
Yeah,
it really is, and it's just I think it is. It's been 50 years since 1976. It was a different time.
Yeah,
it was just a different time in the world.
Yeah.
It said, hold on, Linklater auditioned hundreds of locals, prioritizing vibes over resumes. Ben Affleck beat out bigger names like Brendan Fraser. Parker Posey was a theater kid from Baltimore. And Wiley Wiggins
Posey in this movie
was a 15-year-old baseball player who faked his pool skills on the first night of shooting. He accidentally shot the cue ball off the table at a cast bonding game. Earning instant cred with the seniors. And people were hooking up left and right, apparently. Joey Lauren Adams and McConaughey started hooking up while they were filming. Posey and Adam Goldberg were hooking up. Linklater met his longtime partner, Tina Harrison, just before pitching the film. But apparently everybody's just drinking beer and smoking weed and, just hooking up left and right. It said he ditched the John Hughes formula, no pregnancies or car crashes, for a mood piece about boredom and anticipation. Actors rewrote scenes and added dialogue. Rory Cochrane is so fucking good at this. He played Slater, improvised its conspiracy rants, I guess, about George Washington. While the infamous freshman paddling, inspired by Hazing's own Huntsville high school trauma, got extra cruelty from Nicky Katt's unscripted threats. One holdout, it's just nailed the seven. Linklater gifted each actor a personalized cassette of era-specific tunes, like Black Sabbath for the metalheads or Joni Mitchell for the dreamers. Soundtrack ate up 20% of the budget. But that soundtrack holds everything together.
Yeah, it does.
Holds everything together.
It's an expensive thing if you want all that music. And he was out to make a 70s version of American Graffiti, which was even more packed with songs. So you have to have the soundtrack or it just falls apart. if you're trying to do an American Graffiti.
It helps to complete the coming of age theme.
Yeah.
I mean, it really does. It puts you in that mood.
It sucks that kids don't, music doesn't hold the same cultural currency for kids like it did when we were growing up and when the 70s happened and the 60s happened. It's not the same.
Mm-hmm.
No, music now is just a flash in the pan, and then there's the next flash in the pan, and then there's the next flash in the pan, and then it's the remix of something, and you can't even get music anymore with musical instruments.
Right.
It's very hard nowadays with what kids are listening to nowadays. It's all electronica or, the rapper or, this, that, and the other. And I'm starting to think that some of that is starting to peter out a little bit, but they ain't there yet. They ain't there yet. They're gonna ride that for a little ways.
I watch it when I see them do, only because of Adam, what's his name, is also in this movie, who was
Adam Goldberg.
Yeah.
He was in Rent.
He was?
The one guy that was the intellectual blonde.
Yeah.
He was in Rent after this. He was he was in the original Broadway. And that was what made me think of this. I said, nowadays on Broadway shows, it's like they used to do back in the 20s. They would find popular tunes and just throw it in a show type deal. The music isn't key anymore. And it's a shame. This movie shows you how important the music is.
Yeah.
It's funny because one of the other things about this movie is that there are really no main characters. It's seen from like a bunch of different perspectives. You've got like the incoming seniors, the guys who are just graduating, getting ready to enjoy senior year. You've got the incoming freshmen getting out of 8th grade and getting ready. Suddenly they're freshmen all of a sudden. You get the sort of misanthropes and the nerds that are kind of never hang out with anybody, but everybody knows them. And they're kind of cool. You get the girls. I thought that was just fantastic, the way that the girls are portrayed, because they're so much worse than the guys. They're so much fucking worse than the guys. Parker Posey is just fantastic in this as the queen bee of like all the girls, and she's just a bully and a bitch, and she loves it. Nothing wrong.
The movie.
This is when.
The movie is brilliant in that the one main character that it's supposedly about is Randall Pink Floyd, and you see throughout the movie that he floats from each one of these different friend groups. Like he's not one type of guy. He'll hang with the intellectuals, he'll hang with the jocks, he'll hang with the stoners. He has all these groups, and he's got a girlfriend, so he hangs with the girls, and then through him, we see this peek into these different worlds, Right. So Pink Floyd is in every single group, and that's basically, he introduces us to these different characters, these different groups, and he's the one, the one constant.
And
I always thought. I'm sorry, Mike. Go ahead.
Let me just say this: everybody knows, or I knew someone like Pink, who was the jock. But he was cool with everybody. Because sometimes you get the jock who's just an asshole,
right?
Or you get the jock who's the misanthrope and is, just stays in wood shop and he doesn't talk to, the people that are doing college prep or business, or that sort of thing. Like it's already the working man with a chip on his shoulder and he's like 16,
Right.
But I knew somebody like this guy, and he was just friends with everybody, and he wasn't a dick to anybody, and he was just cool. And you're right. He kind of is the main character, because I was almost going to say it's Wiley Wiggins as Mitch. And he
Mitch
might be
a lot of that is Mitch, because it's Pink and Mitch, because Pink is introducing Mitch to all these groups in that one night. He's taking the kid along under his wing. So it is kind of like he's passing the torch to this kid.
Mitch is a good Horatio to Pink's like Hamlet type deal. Ironically, I always felt like Pink reminded me a lot of a more serious version of Ferris Bueller. Ferris Bueller knew everybody, type deal, but it was on a very comic, over the top version. He was a more realistic one that walked through the school. Again, you knew that guy. You knew him.
I'm still thoroughly convinced now in this day and age that fucking Ferris Bueller was just the villain. He just is. He's a villain.
That is a good conspiracy theory video to watch about how he's a psychopath.
He is. He's a manipulative, lying fucking piece of shit. He really is.
Fucking 80s though. That's like that John Hughes thing. It's like Ducky is not the hero. He is a creep. It happens all the time in those movies.
Oh my God! If you go back and look at John Hughes movies now, I don't think it would be made.
Yeah, of course.
Half of the films they just wouldn't get done.
I think though
that they got done at all. The kid movies like this were celebrations of boomer culture.
Right.
And John Hughes is the one exception where he wasn't showing, it wasn't, we're going to get laid. We got cars. We're going to go do drugs. That was the boomer sort of obsessions that got filtered into kid movies about the 80s, and it never fit. John Hughes came along and said, nah, the 80s kids are not about that.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the basic plot, and this isn't streaming anywhere. You kind of have to get your own copy or, find it somewhere. It's the last day of school, 1976, small Texas town. 8th graders, now moving into 9th, are being preyed upon by incoming seniors who are going to put them through some ritual hazing, which usually for the guys includes like a cricket bat. And if you don't know what a cricket bat is, you think of Animal House. If you know what that is, thank you, sir. May I have another? They're going to get fucking paddled with these thick fucking bats that these guys are like making in woodshop. You see Cole Hauser making one in the introductory as Sweet Emotion is playing with Aerosmith. And so it's that. It's the girls whose hazing is different. We'll get into that in a little bit. It's also the pledge, and that's one of the key sticking points in this is that the main character Pink, I think Randy Floyd his name is being as the quarterback and an incoming senior. The entire team is being asked to sign, put their John Hancock on this document from their coaches saying they're not going to party over the summer. They're not going to do any drugs, smoke any weed or anything. People aren't shooting up heroin in this. This is a lighthearted film. But, they want to hang out and drink beer with their friends and enjoy their lives. Right. And you've got these coaches that want them to, sign this pledge. And it's a sticking point for Pink because unlike a lot of his football friends who are just going to sign it and blow it off, he has a problem with it on general principle, and I don't think he wants to give his pledge to something he knows he's not going to honor, and he doesn't want his life micromanaged that way.
Right.
If somebody else wants to take it from there, I think that really comes into what we were talking about last week with the anti-authoritarian streak, sort of a libertarian streak from Linklater.
It doesn't surprise me at all. I encountered Linklater years and years before his movies came out. Slacker came out like 91 or 92. But when I was a kid, when I was 17, I bought a record album called Woodshock. It was a punk rock festival compilation album. And I had no idea that Linklater made the movie. He did this documentary about this punk rock music festival in Austin in 1985, and that was the soundtrack to that film. I had no idea until years and years and years later. But, it makes sense that a guy who came up in the punk rock world in Austin, Texas, would have a libertarian streak and anti-authoritarian.
Yeah. And that doesn't surprise me at all. I remember a pledge that was going around in the 70s. Where people had to, and for pretty much that same thing, that you weren't going to do this and you weren't going to do that, and you were going to stay not on the straight and narrow, but you were going to keep yourself clean, especially if you're doing sports and be dedicated to the school. And that was the first time I remember my father actually mentioning to somebody. I say this a lot of times when I talk about my dad. My dad always used to say, to us as kids, be sure of your principles, because there's going to come a day you'll have to stand for them. And I remember when I was there, they were asking me to sign a pledge, and I said no. And my one swim coach looked at me and said, well, everybody's signing it. I said, how long have you known me? Can you not trust me yet? And the guy didn't, and he took my pledge back. I didn't have to sign it. Because, but I said, I said, you know, how long have you been my coach? Type deal. But it's Linklater, when he has people stand for something, it's not militant, you know, and I love that. It's more realistic. They're finding themselves and what's true to them.
Yeah.
In a lot of his movies.
Well, it's also a different time when you really didn't say no to adults.
True.
You know, now, you know, it's just, you know, it'd be pointless. But 50 years ago, you know, it was a big deal, the stand that he was taking. You know, all of his friends are like, you're going to make a big deal out of this, aren't you? You know, and he tries to throw it away. The funny thing is, he tries to throw it away a couple of times, and two of his friends end up picking it up and, like, bringing it back to him. You know, you can't, it's hard to get out of that sort of small town routine. You know, he's in the stadium at the baseball game where they're all waiting for Mitch or just hanging out or whatever, and there's some old man, you know, talking to him. We're counting on you boys this year, you know, and he knows how many linemen and how many lettermen are coming back, and this guy's like 90 years old. So it's like this whole like institution, you know, within this small framework that's like placing people in these positions that, you know, they probably don't want to be in, but you know, no one's going to fight it.
Well, it's no accident that it's set in 1976. I mean, it's recalling, you know, the revolution and the way that we stood up to England, where no one else had the cojones to do that across the world, and you know, it's embedded in American life to be anti-authoritarian. It's just our DNA, and that's what Linklater's saying about it. And he's pointing out that a lot of people are losing that DNA, but some people are not.
Yeah, it's the old adage in the West that the individual is sovereign.
Right.
You know, it's not the group. It's the individual and his or her right to choose.
Right.
You know, and that's one of the main themes in this, you know, because people are just trying to conform, and, you know, the incoming freshmen, they want to be cool, you know, and accepted by the upperclassmen, and, you know, so on and so forth. And, you know, there's some, it's just funny because when he's talking to those, the three misanthropes in the class, that one girl's like, Jesus Christ, what's next? Urine tests? Yeah. It's just like perfectly predicts, you know, what's coming. You know, and all these things that are, you know, just a part of life now.
Well, each group you see they react to the pledge differently. Like the jocks are all like, let's just get along to go along. The intellectuals are very, very offended and not taking it, you know, matter of factly like Pink does. It's everyone has a different view of it, but, you know, and then you have you have Watterson just like, yeah, man, they're always going to try to make you follow more rules, you know.
Yeah, the older you get,
he's another rebel, even though he's looked at as, you know, the guy who peaked in high school and never moved on or whatever.
Right.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. He says, you know, I could go to school, but, you know, I don't think he really believes in any of it. He doesn't believe in the narrative. You know, so, you know, the best you can do, okay, well, you know, I'm just going to work for the city and have a little money in my pocket, you know, and I got that freedom, you know, because if I go to college, then there's going to be more rules, you know, and then, you know, if I go out and get a job, then there's going to, you know, those types of jobs, and there's going to be more rules. You know, one of the things that really stuck out to me about this was how crass the humor was. Yeah. Like, you couldn't get away with saying this kind of shit today.
Yeah.
I was like, I forget something. There's a scene in there where somebody's just driving by. You don't even see him. And maybe Pink or one of the other guys is talking to a girl. And somebody just yells, hey, fuck her. I did. And he just drives away. Yeah. And I'm like, what the fuck is No one would even think to like add something like that in a movie today, but it's just genius. that was the way it was. People were just so fucking crass.
Yeah,
you know,
as much as you know, you have the generation battles between millennials and boomers and whatever. Gen X, like John said, I was 9 in 1976. I watched all this stuff happen. That was like role models to me for growing up. Like, I can't wait to be in high school and be able to be this person, even though by the time I got there, it was gone. But you know, Gen X, we were brought up by this later day boomer generation, the 70s boomer generation. It's everyone had an older brother which was an influence. Everyone had an uncle who was an influence, something, you know, stepdad or whatever. My buddy Sean's stepdad played in the rock band, the first rock band that played in Egg Harbor City Park. It was a big thing, you know.
Right.
Even though they were only playing Beatles tunes, but you know, that was a big thing. There's a rock band instead of the German Oompa band.
You got one of Pink's friends trying to pick up the teacher. God, we could, you know, over the summer.
Oh my God!
You know, nobody won't say a word. I swear to God. Blah, 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 blah.
And she just pats him on the head. And I was like, oh my God, that is so goddamn true.
Oh man, yeah.
Can we take a moment about the teachers too?
Sure. I mean, yeah.
I mean, when the young kids are saying, you know, it would really give us a chance to get out of here with our lives.
Oh yeah.
He goes, 50 of you are going into battle. Only 25 are coming back. And I remember the first time I'm going, oh my God, that's Mr. Schultz.
Yeah, the man just back from Vietnam, you know, well adjusted. He's got a job, but you know, he still remembers, you know, what happened back then. That's fucking great. Yeah.
I loved that when I was like, oh my God.
One of the big things I remember my friends complaining about when we left it, when we saw it in the theater, was they didn't believe that kind of stuff went on in the 70s. They're like, this is a lie. It's impossible. No town, no community would let 18-year-olds beat up 14-year-olds. And you're like, well, yeah, it did happen.
Yeah. I went to high school. I joined high school in 1983. It was vicious, man. I went to Oakrest in like 83. It was fucking vicious.
Yeah, it was.
Dude,
the hazing was vicious. They weren't beating you with cricket bats, but I mean, yeah, if they decided that you were going to get zeroed out, then I mean, that was just your ass, man.
Yeah,
dude, I went to St. Joe's Prep in Philadelphia my first 2 years of high school, and I had a locker mate, for the best way to describe it, was a guy from the football team. I remember his name to this day, Howard Tucker. Always didn't have a pen. Always short $1 for something for lunch. And I'm like, here you go. Don't worry about it. Their whole thing about hazing happened the first Friday after they lost a football game. I had 3 guys getting ready to beat the hell out of me. One of them with a field hockey stick. He was going to smack it on my ass. And Howard stepped around and said, what are you doing? And they all walked away. And he's like, don't worry about it, John. Walk with me. I got you. But that's, you know, that's just the way they were at that time. That was considered the character that Ben Affleck played.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, not to jump ahead, but when
it takes it too far.
When the kids got their revenge on him. And the way he's yelling at the other people, why didn't you get my back? Like this was tradition.
Yeah.
Type deal. I always felt that. Because it wasn't just the fact he was embarrassed. He was mad at them for not helping him or covering him.
He's been mad the whole day. Ben Affleck plays that guy O'Banion, who has failed and now has to repeat senior year.
Right.
So he's just, like everybody else is just kind of laughing at him behind his back. But, you know, he's the guy. Yeah, he's the guy who takes it too far. The guy who gets into the fight with Adam Goldberg takes it too far. You know, he just wants to pick a fight with somebody.
That actor just passed in April, as a matter of fact.
Oh, really?
His name, Hitty. It's a shame, too, because he has such a bit part, but I always remember him because he just ate up the scenes that he was in completely. He killed those scenes.
Yeah.
Yeah, playing the 50s holdover tough guy. Just fantastic, man.
I think he was another one like about the same age as Matthew McConaughey, because you didn't see him in the school.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he just kind of kept showing up at these high school parties, and I guess he was just a fucking bully. And, you know, I could pick on some bookworm or something like that, you know, and it turns into kind of a thing. One of the things I want to talk, let's talk about the girls.
Okay.
With the fucking hazing. Is it worse, or is it different, or is it the same, or what did you think?
I think it's more scarring.
You know, Parker Posey is a female O'Banion, you know, and it's just playing out that dynamic among the girls, because equal billing without it being a lecture. I thought it was fantastic the way they did it, and it was just great.
Joey Lawrence's character, when she walks up to him, I'm sorry guys, I had to go through this, and then she yells at him.
Yeah,
I was like, I would hate you.
Like all the other girls put a little balm on it, a little salve on it, you know, like, come on, I had to go through it, you did. And then like, it's impossible to like be scared of Joey Lauren Adams, because she's got that little ice cream voice, you know? So, you know, it just doesn't matter. And then the one girl who becomes like a character in the movie that gets taken around by, I think, Mitch's sister. You know, again, you know, she's like the female Pink, you know, taking Mitch around. She's taking this other girl around. You know, we're going to, you know, show you the ropes.
Let's introduce you.
There's something to it, you know, where, you know, like Pink tells Mitch, you know, he goes, hey, man, you know, you can come out with us later. If you let him see that, you know, you can take your licks and it doesn't bother you that much. Yeah. You know, that's, you know, that means something, you know, and that, you know, that's kind of important. And that's what he ends up, you know, Mitch ends up becoming like a really cool guy, and he becomes part of the crowd, you know, like really instantly. There is something about that, you know, when you join something, or you know, I remember, you know, doing, I used to work in the late 90s. I used to work in the boatyards. I was doing fiberglass for about a year in the boatyards. And, you know, I was in my late 20s, but it was my first labor job. You take a little bit of ribbing. You know, it's, you know, they knew I was in college. So, you know, you get the old college boy ribs and that kind of stuff. But, you know, you show people that you can, you know, just take a couple of shots and
you take it.
You know, it's not a problem. You know, you got to have a bit of a thick skin, which is, you know, kind of a coming of age lesson that I think nowadays a lot of people are sorely lacking in. Everybody's so fucking thin-skinned nowadays. People get their feelings hurt like left and right. And that's why when, like I said, when that guy just yelled at the car, fuck her, I did. He just drives off. Like somebody would call that guy would be swatted today. You know?
There's something to be said about some good-natured hazing, although there's plenty of stories of groups and individuals that took that shit too far. But the overall hazing that we put up with when we were coming up definitely gave us thicker skin in a way, and, you know, coping mechanisms, for Christ's sake, that kids don't have today. Wiley Wiggins, let's talk about him for a second. Mitch Kramer. If that kid touched his face anymore, I mean, someone should have told him that. Someone should have indicated to this kid that this is like Ben Affleck switching his hair. Not Ben Affleck, the other one, George Clooney, head tilt. This thing, it's got to stop. Someone should have been able to tell him. Watch the dailies a couple times, and it's just every other scene.
Yep.
Well, he's the big star. He's the star of Waking Life. But I mean, he never went on to become like a big, huge, you know, actor. I think he's in. I think he's in The Scanner Darkly a little bit. I think he is, but he never had a big career. I mean, you know, he did a couple of films with Linklater. I don't even know what he's doing nowadays. He could be behind the camera. He could be completely away.
I'm looking it up right now, and he's still doing some acting. He was in stuff up to like 2018 as an actor. Nothing huge, nothing major. Waking Life was the last major thing in 2001. Yeah.
A lot of people dropped. This is unrelated, but a couple of weeks ago, maybe a month ago or so, I put up on YouTube from the 90s the Billy Idol video, A Cradle of Love. If anybody remembers that with that girl. She walks in there. And I was like, I remember one time, whatever happened? So whatever happened to her, I popped it in AI. She was like 18 when that came out. I don't know if anybody knows that. David Fincher directed that video.
That one I didn't know.
Yeah, Fincher directed that video, and now she's like a gymnastics teacher. So there are lots of people who, you get. I guess you get a couple flashes in the pan, and that tends to be it. And I guess life kind of goes on.
Well, you see that a bit with especially so many actors in the '80s type deal. Ironically, I love the fact that in this movie I'm seeing people who I haven't seen in a while, and I used to like them a lot. And I'm going, whatever happened to them? And as I'm looking, they're still working. They're still finding, bits.
A lot of them went on to work in TV, which you could do back in the 90s and the 2000s. They're pretty decent TV shows that don't exist now in this day and age.
No, TV has become like for A-listers. A-listers do TV now. It's amazing to watch. TV used to be like a huge step down. And maybe you would make it onto the big screen one day or something, or everybody knows the one guy who makes a transition one time into the big screen and it doesn't pan out, and they go back to television or something like that. But television is completely dominated by big Billy Bob Thornton's on there, every other day, and Tom Hardy and Pierce Brosnan and Zoe Saldana and Nicole Kidman and Stallone, and you're just like, holy shit! Like,
dude, Harrison Ford, and was on one of them. Yeah, I was because the time period that I was in the '80s, I remember taking acting classes at Stockton, and they were talking about you can't do commercials. Commercials in the '80s were unheard of. Oh my God, that is such a step down for an actor. And I said, yeah, I do a commercial in a heartbeat.
Yeah, right.
And they all, and when they were giving me grief, the teacher said, "You guys don't get it. This is why John's going to be an actor." And I looked at him and he went, "John gets a commercial that's a national commercial. He makes money. He doesn't have to cover rent. He can go do what he wants."
Right.
This is the era before Flo from Progressive or the AT&T girl. They made their whole careers like that, or Jared from Subway, or whoever.
I met the woman who plays Flo.
Oh, I thought you meant the AT&T girl.
And the thing about it was, she does stand-up comedy.
Yeah,
and she's funnier than hell. But that's why she has that horrible wig on.
Yeah,
she goes, I don't want people recognizing me when I do stand-up. It's a different. But she goes, I have a good bank now. My kids can go to college and not have to worry about it. That's why I did it.
She was in Mad Men too.
Yeah.
She played one of the telephone operators, and all three of those women were stand-up comedians.
I have a friend of mine who's an actress out of Philadelphia who, for years, especially in the 90s, have you ever heard the commercials for Acme on the radio, or the voice that would announce? That was her. She did it for like 5 years. And I said, how much? And he goes, can I ask how much you made? She goes, my daughter doesn't have to worry about going to college.
Nice.
She's covered. But it was purely for the fact she said, yeah, I knew what was my motivation, my paycheck. I took it, and we were about the same age.
Yep.
All right. I think one of the things they also got right, because I don't want to ramble a little too much because we're all doing it. No. I'm doing it too. I'm talking about the fucking, I can't remember what I was talking about. That's how bad I'm rambling. The vandalism.
Yes.
That was another thing they got right. Smashing the telephone, the mailboxes. Somebody's back window might get smashed open.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, got that right. Got that right. Absolutely got that right. Although, no one ever pulled a revolver out on me, and
that's just another thing I noticed a couple weeks ago, night before Halloween. There's no toilet paper in the trees.
No.
There's no soap and eggs on your car.
There's no trick-or-treating anymore. Everybody's trunk-or-treating at some rec center now.
Yeah. No one knows how to have fun anymore.
There's no edge. There's no edge to anything anymore. Everything is all smooth corners. And like a buddy of mine was, he was saying, the kids, they went out to a party, like senior, because his kids are senior. His son is a senior in high school, and his girlfriend, and they said, there might be some drinking going on. So like your parents pick you up now from, I guess, these parties that you go to.
Right.
Like, when did that become a fucking thing?
I don't know.
You wanted to give your parents as far away as, like, get me to another planet.
Yeah.
Nope, not nowadays. Parents
look at this movie. Look at this movie
exactly.
when the beer got got delivered early.
Yeah.
I mean,
the Pickford residence.
And the husband goes, unpack your bags, we're not going anywhere. And I'm like, I remember in 1972, my sister threw a graduation party. My dad came home from work Saturday morning after working a Friday night shift. And some guy said, "Who the hell are you, old man?" And my dad wanted to throw him out of the house through the door because he's like, "I'm going to bed. Who the hell are you?" But that was but those I remembered those type things, and
I got a story about this. This was during my Stockton days, or maybe early Stockton days. My parents went away, and I threw a party at my house, and I had a bunch of Stockton people over, and people from my job come over, got a keg. Had a little food, this, that, and the other. I went out to do something. I think we ran out of beer, so I went to go make a beer run or something like that. My parents called the house while I was away. Fucking Gary Winchester, if you remember Gary Winchester, picked up the phone and said, he just went to get another keg, and hung up the fucking phone. And, you fucking moron. I could have fucking murdered him. I'm still mad about that to this day. I really am. I'm getting a little heated right now thinking about it right now. I'm like, you stupid motherfucker. Jesus Christ. Did your parents have any children that fucking lived? You fucking moron.
No, dude, he was a piney. To them, being underage, picking up another keg was normal.
Jesus Christ. That whole Pickford thing, that reminded me of, I remember watching them like, fucking, this is Gary Winchester all over again in some parallel universe.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we talked a little bit about it. Is this the first time you saw Matthew McConaughey?
Yeah, this is his first
time
movie.
you notice him, yeah.
Yeah, I think it is for me too. And he is another one that stole every scene that he was in, I thought.
Yeah.
But then the rest of the 90s, he spent it doing rom-coms. Yeah. And he didn't redeem himself until much later with roles in like Wolf of Wall Street and stuff, where he started to become interesting again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. He was like a 90. He was
I
like
don't
a
blame
90s
him.
guy.
He did the right thing for his career, but Jesus, you wanted another Watterson, and you had to wait 20 years to get it.
Yeah.
Oh, my favorite scene is when he pulls up in the gas station and starts talking to the nerds in the other car.
He starts talking to that redhead is who he starts talking to. Yeah.
And I did like some background research on that. Linklater told him to improvise on it. That whole thing was just him winging that dialogue. And when he said, you can jump in there and leave them two alone, but we'll talk about that later.
And I'm like, to be better, yeah.
I'm like, what a great scene, because then the stoner goes, "Hey, I know you."
Yeah.
Rory Cochrane.
Yeah, I love that. I know you.
They used to call me. They used to call me Slater at work. They're always like, "Check you later, dude."
Check you later.
That was my the vibe I was putting out when I was working in radio.
We're probably wearing those what were those hemp pullovers everybody used to wear back then, and used to have a huge walking stick. Yeah, you used to have a huge walking stick or something, and we used to bring it around to parties. Yeah, exactly.
What do you mean we used to?
Yeah.
What
else I loved about this movie? I loved all the set pieces. I mean, the clothing, the cars, everything about this. It took you right back to it.
Dude, the Moon Tower was just my entire high school experience. All those parties back in the woods.
Yeah.
All those not houses, in the woods, man.
That's a
You know?
cabin party right there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and you're just like, wow, this is how I fucking grew up.
Christ, Bob
This is
Seger,
how I
if you
grew
can't
up.
find a house, better find a field.
Mm-hmm.
There was a song that he did, and I look, grass is good as carpet.
I wouldn't even know how to get to any of those places today. I wouldn't remember, but I bet if I were to go back there, they would be so small.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Because they just seemed huge, back then. Huge. Like I'm in the Grand Canyon or I'm like in Yosemite Forest or something like that. They're probably like these little dinky little holes where there's a little clearing, like, we're going to second field or first field, or we're going over here, and most of the time it was dark. You couldn't see. Nobody had any lights. There was just beer and, and people doing whatever else they were doing. But yeah,
and the whole world was there.
Yep, the whole world was there.
The whole world was there, man.
Oh, man.
It's a very Austin thing to have a moon tower, too. That's like a famous thing there where instead of street lights, they had these really, really tall towers that would illuminate just enough for you to see where you're going, but it wouldn't be bright enough to cause light pollution.
And of course, one kid died there. That's why we don't hang out here anymore. There's always that one.
Hit his head on every,
Yep. He had one beer. How many of you had? Oh, you shouldn't go up.
Oh, jeez, you're dead. Yeah, you're dead.
You're dead.
But I've heard those stories,
And you know something? The other connection, too, is that you always, especially in these settings, maybe for John it's a little different because he was in Philadelphia, but, it's the concept of living in a dead town.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I lived through that, and I came back here because my father's reached a certain age now. But I mean, the people never leave. Nobody ever really leaves. You just stay in the loop forever and ever. Like I said, that 90-year-old man is telling Pink, what the football stats are for his high school team. I doubt he knows. Even Pink knows, is paying that kind of attention. But it's just atrophy, or I don't know if it's stagnation or whatever, but it's just a dead town, where like nothing ever changes. These sort of land that time forgot sort of settings. And I think desperately he just, like so many kids, he just wants to get away.
Right.
And you don't know if he's going to. It ends on this really ambiguous note where he's not going to sign the pledge. Because it's been 32 years. If you haven't seen it by now, we're spoiling it.
Yep.
He's not going to sign the pledge. Maybe he'll play. Maybe he won't. He's definitely going to get some Aerosmith tickets the next day with Wooderson. They're going to drive down there 4 hours to get some Aerosmith tickets.
Because that's important.
But yeah, because that's what's important.
Right.
And that's another thing too. And maybe at the end of the month, if I do the final film, we'll talk about in real detail. It's the people that you connect to. That's what's important.
Right. Even last week's movie's the same way. The three guys that were there.
Yeah, they haven't seen each other in decades. Yeah, and they see each other, and it's like boom. Like I haven't seen you since Vietnam, but like just like that, it's back on again.
Exactly.
I think at the end of the movie, that's the conclusion that you arrive at. It's the people that you connect with. That's what's important. Right. Maybe it's not your football coaches, or some pledge or something like that.
Yeah. The scene at the end when they're all in the car and they're listening to music and they're laughing. And in my head, I'm going, how many times are they going to have that moment throughout their whole life? Maybe not laughing as much, but having that like recollection we're having with our high school experiences after seeing this movie. Man,
I got to tell you, I'm going to be 57 in 11 days. And I got to tell you, it doesn't, you think it's going to happen like every day, and it doesn't. You find out as you get older, I think it happens less and less. You make a real connection with people. It doesn't happen. You think it's going to happen all the time, and then you realize really in your life, it only happens a couple of times.
It's when you realize some of the connections that you made were important. These were the people you would stay if a fight started. These were the ones you would come running into, to help them out. Type deal. And vice versa. If you were in a jam, they would come in to get you. Type deal.
And I think you get
that's
caught up
when it
in,
was important.
well, I think the counter thing to that is that, like we talked about before, we're going to start to wrap this up, is that the older you get, the more rules you get placed on you.
Mm-hmm.
And it's easy to forget the fact that what's really important is that connection.
Yeah.
You know, with those people, because you get so bogged down with so many mundane, fucking repetitive things that it just, you know, it just kind of goes out of your brain. And, you know, and you're worried about paying this bill or doing this, or I got to do these 3 things today, or these 6 things tomorrow, or, you know, I got, you know, the next month of my life mapped out, you know, or the kids need to go. None of us are parents, but I watch this in my, you know, my friends, and we all know friends that are parents, and, you know, you got to take the kids here, and I got to do this. And, you know,
Jordan Peterson thing where he keeps talking about how complicated your life gets the older you get, and that's part of it, is dealing with the responsibilities and the rules.
It's not easy. It's not easy.
No.
But I like the way that this ends. It ends on an optimistic. I think it ends on an optimistic note.
I think it's very optimistic. He's making his own decision.
Yeah, whether it's right or wrong.
Wrong, it's his.
Yeah, it's his. It's his.
Yeah.
And nobody else can make it for him, and his coaches shouldn't be making it for him, and his friends shouldn't be making it for him.
Right.
And Wooderson shouldn't be making it for him. He, you know, he's doing the best he can in this moment. And there's that great scene, and we'll stop right here, where you know, he says, you know, I did the best I could while I was trying to get out of this place. You know, I played as hard as I could while I was trying to get out of this place. You know, and just it repeats like 2 or 3 different times, and you're like, fuck yeah, man, I grew up in this town.
Yeah.
Like, I grew up in this town. I know exactly what that kid is talking about.
Exactly.
Yep.
You know?
Exactly.
But what a cool mom at the end. Mitch Kramer comes home drunk at 7 a.m, and she's like, you get one free.
Hooks up with a sophomore.
Yes.
Hooks up with a sophomore. God bless him. God bless him. I love it. There's the one black guy in the crowd, and they're like, look at him. God bless him. Go, you go, boy. He's there watching this, you know, this kid that they just paddled the shit out of him a couple hours ago, bounced right back, and, you know, now he's all hooking up with some girl, you know, so.
Well, that's what he said. He goes, you know, if you show up after you get paddled, you know.
Yeah, be cool to show. Let him see it doesn't bother you.
Let him see it doesn't bother you.
Yeah. You couldn't.
And that's
do that
the best
today.
advice to give to him to start off high school.
Yeah, everybody in that high school would be in prison today. They'd all be in fucking jail. It'd be on CNN.
Oh, God,
yeah, they'd all be in fucking jail. They'd all be in fucking jail. Yeah.
Yep.
All right. Is there any angle or aspect of this film that we have not discussed that you would like to get into?
I think we covered it.
Yeah, I think so.
I really did.
I think so. All right. Bill Pink Floyd, plug something.
Plug? I got nothing to plug, man. I'm so busy with my band, can't even rehearse this month. So,
Bill, you got to be living. Livin. Come on.
I know it, man. I know it, but my life is complicated right now.
Oh, shit. All right. John K. Alvarez here for a visceral experience. What do you got for us?
I tell you, I'm actually going to be making my TikTok debut right before or after Thanksgiving.
TikTok, you don't stop. All right.
The historic Cold Spring Village asked me if I would dress up like a jolly old elf from the north for all you kids out there, so I don't spoil it.
That's New Hampshire, right?
Yeah, pretty much Maine, up in Maine. But I'm going to be doing reciting for them. Yes, Virginia, there is a Santa Claus dressed in the outfit, and then. Was the night before Christmas in a whole Victorian setting with the tree lit up and everything else. They're like, would you do this? I'm like, are you kidding me? That's what I was born to do. Exactly. Absolutely, man.
All right, cool.
So I'm going to be making my TikTok debut. When it comes out, I'll let you know.
Yeah, send me the link, and I'll put the link to your profile or to whatever profile you're going to use to make videos, and I'll put them in the description.
You got it.
Happy to do it. For this channel, we are halfway through the month of Richard Linklater. We will be back next week with one of our favorites, Waking Life. which Bill told me about 24 years ago, and still own a copy today.
Now.
Yeah. And we might, I don't know what we're going to do for, I bought a copy of Me and Orson Welles. That's a Linklater film.
Love that movie.
It's about a stage production where the director is a young Orson Welles. And it's one of the lesser known Linklater films. But if people don't have access to that, there are a couple of Linklater films from the Before series, if anybody's interested, that are free on YouTube. Like they're literally on YouTube TV.
Oh, yeah.
So we'll see what's going on as we get closer. It's also Thanksgiving weekend, so we might just do 3. And then that 4th week of Thanksgiving week, we may just leave it at that. I don't know.
Yeah, but if we cut the Orson Welles movie, watch it. It's a great movie.
Yeah, I just bought a copy. I haven't seen it yet, so there's that. Also, this weekend, I'll be at the theaters because Oz Perkins from The Monkey and Longlegs and The Black Coat's Daughter and has got a new fucking movie coming out this weekend called Keepers. So I'm kind of horrored out, but I'm always up for a new Oz Perkins movie. So I'll be catching that this weekend, and we'll be back next week with Waking Life.
You got it.
Okay, let's get to the part in the stream where we rate the film. This channel has a rating system that goes from 0 to 5 up by halves. So 0, 0.5, 1, 1.5, all the way to 5. So 0, for example, would be I'd rather get my wisdom teeth pulled every week rather than watch this movie again, all the way to 5, which is this is the journey, the destination. This is why I watch films in the first place. Bill Pink Floyd, recovering from hitting his head at the moon tower. What would you give Dazed and Confused?
This one's hard, man. I want to give it a 5. I want to, but it has limitations. This movie has limitations for me. I love it. It's nostalgic. I watch it all the time. It's an easy one to watch over and over. I quote the movie all the time. But is it cinema? Is it, am I going to hold it up next to, I don't know.
Ben-Hur.
Whatever. It's still a Formula Kids movie. And it's not 5 worthy. 4.5, I've got to give it a 4.5. I got to give it that little downgrade.
Okay. All right. John K. Alvarez, what do you got for us?
I completely agree with what Bill Pink Floyd was saying on this. Because like I said, I referred to it as having a slice of pizza. Mm-hmm. It was that comfortable. It's not filet mignon. It's good pizza, but it's not. So I'm giving it a 4.5 too.
All right. Fair. Yeah, I'm going with 4.5. I think it is extremely high-level entertainment. Mm-hmm. But it's not cinema. No. It's not cinema. It's not Braveheart. It's not Lawrence of Arabia. It's not Apocalypse Now or, anything like that.
I blame Ben Affleck.
It's an extremely smart movie, though. And I think that if you are a younger person, like a millennial or, God forbid, a Gen Z, definitely a movie you should watch to see why you don't understand your Gen X person that you work with or whatever, because this is an honest depiction of how people grew up back then. Just a different world.
They don't
Yeah. Everybody would be in prison today in that high school. All right. My thanks to Bill Pink Floyd. My thanks to John K. Alvarez. John, let's go get those Aerosmith tickets, and we will see you all in the next video.
You got it.
Take care, everyone. God bless you.
Good night.